You've got to cost each individual job separately, specifically based on what going into it. That's not an easy thing to do. We can't just, like I said before about the concrete trucks, that's all they're doing, supplying and delivering concrete. We can't just say, oh, we're putting our price up 10% because
Yep.
that might not be enough. It
Mm.
might be on one job, might not be on another job. So we've got to just
Oh, definitely.
totally structuring the way we're pricing our work, which takes a lot of time, doesn't it?
Thinking about building or renovating? Or maybe you are already knee-deep in a project now. Are you feeling unsure of which steps to take and if you are making the right calls? You're not alone. Welcome to Builders Beyond Borders, the podcast where experienced Aussie builders share real stories, insider tips, and practical advice so you can build with confidence, avoid costly mistakes, and actually enjoy the journey. Let's dive in.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Builders Beyond Borders podcast. My name's Paul. I'm from Independent Building Solutions in Canberra. And with me today, I've got Hugh from New Realm Homes in Melbourne. And we thought we'd have a bit of a chat today about, obviously, the current climate with the price rises and the constant fluctuations that we're getting with this war and all this stuff that's going on. I mean, everyone's noticing at the petrol bowsers, and that's a big expense for us too. We're using running trucks and equipment, plant and equipment and things like that that are required for building industry. And then you've also got some materials that have been highly affected by it, particularly the PVC products that are petroleum based. And so it's very hard to try and maintain a cost, or certainly a fixed price contract is almost impossible at the moment, depending on what the job is and what type of materials you need for the job, etc. So I'll hand it over to you, Hugh, to have a bit of a yarn about what you're sort of experiencing in the last how long's it been since it started? It's only been a month or two, hasn't it? But it's sort of escalated pretty quickly, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, the last, it's really been since the start of the year. I mean, we've been seeing everything sort of going this way where we're going to be at that point, the crux point, which we're at now, and probably even a month or two ago now. The costs for everything have skyrocketed, and everybody's feeling this at the Bowser when they're going to fill up their cars, and this sort of thing, the flow-on effects, and that are sort of coming from, I hate to say, a war in Iran, or something that's happening on the other side of the world, but how heavily it affects us from a manufacturing standpoint, from a transport and logistics standpoint, and delivery on construction projects just in general. And it's not limited to just homes that are being built. It's even to the extent that we're seeing with maintenance on home. It's a massive worry at the moment, and I'm quite sure that the sentiment about the worry about what things are costing, how this is going to be affecting our own homes as we're doing any kind of building, and having conversations with homeowners at the moment, there's a lot of worry, concern, and skepticism that anything is actually going to be able to be done. And it makes me concerned because obviously we've got a government that's sort of sitting there saying, "Oh, we've got to build all this home," but the sustainability side of this is going to be challenging in things escalate more, which, as much as we don't want to say it, there's a likelihood that it could, because it's not a 50-50. It could go either direction at any time. Where we're just sort of seeing that, yeah, we're with a stranglehold on resources overseas, and just recently with the fire at one of the refineries in Victoria as well. Like that's these are all things that are affecting everything, and people have every right to be concerned that with Australia sort of pushing a lot of manufacturing and supply of materials offshore, that costs are going to be higher. How people are mitigating this? I mean, I've only seen one example in recent time, since all this has sort of started, where a supplier, and a very well trusted supplier in Victoria, sent out a very big supply chain update to say that we're not going to be increasing costs because of the transport costs and that sort of thing, and the cost of fuel increase. And now that's a big call, and it's a massive. I can't thank them enough, because they're one of the suppliers that we actually use, and to get that sort of thing from somebody that we trust and we use and we're committing a lot of work with, made it so that now we can have a little bit of confidence within our pricing and our pricing structure, so that we don't have to do something as simple as say, you know what, we're with our contracts now, we've got to pull all delivery costs and put them as a marked item in the contract, because there is the volatility with transport costs. We're thankful for that, but there's so many other sort of parts to building that this is affecting in such a drastic way.
Yeah, it's different times. It's just another one of those things, I guess. It's like COVID and like global financial crisis. We get all these things coming along all the time that we just have to deal with and work our way through. So we know it'll pass. It's just a case of where it passes and when it passes, and it's just the uncertainty, I guess, that makes it a bit hard with pricing projects, because you can't commit to a price, and people want to know how much something's going to cost. They don't want to start a project and then find out that it's costing them thousands of dollars more than what they first thought, because they simply don't have the money, and then it causes problems as well for everybody when that happens. It's just a sort of hard thing to try and negotiate through the uncertainty of it. So I guess you just got to try to talk to your clients and work with them as best you can and explain to them. I think most people would understand this problem, but it just, yeah, even just feels an interesting one. I see it going up 20 cents a litre in one day, and then coming back down three times the other day in
Yes.
one day. Like, it came back down. Diesel came back down from $2.97 to $2.86 or something, and then it was $2.67. Next day it was $2.52. And it went from $1.70 up to $2.10 in one go a few weeks back.
Yeah. Yep.
So and it must be hard for freight companies. We've had a letter from concrete suppliers saying, the concrete was going up $8 a metre because of the cost of fuel. Like, those big trucks are expensive to run. But then less than a month later, we get a second letter saying it's going up another 17 per. This is per
Yep.
cubic metre. So that's what's a $35 a cubic metre, and that's not a lot of concrete. So a 10 metre loaded concrete's $350 more than what it was before. So that's a big percentage to of a rise. And then the same with PVC piping, the plumbers' drainage stuff like that, 38% just in pipe alone, and fittings and things like that. That's a big jump. So, if you can't sort of stick to your price when all those sort of things happen to you, then the price has to go up with it. So it's very, very hard to negotiate that. Like I say, it's uncertain times, but we sort of got to, like I think, be positive, try not to be too negative, because it is what it is. So we've got to sort of focus on what we can control, and just keep moving forward, don't we? And like I said before, it's a case of it will pass. It's just a matter of when. And does it come back though? Remember when we had when the fuel went up last time? What was that caused by? I forget what it was. When it went up over $1 and went to nearly $2, and they brought it back to $1.50, and it never ever came back down again. And this is what's going to happen now. Like, let's talk. Your diesel will never come down below $2 again now. There's a good chance, isn't there? So we've sort of got to just live with it, get on with it. But it just makes everything cost more. Even our groceries, everything we do costs more with the price of diesel being up like that. So
It's very challenging. I mean, the things that we're sort of seeing with these costs increasing is that no matter what we do, the conversations that we've got to have with everybody that's involved with work that we're doing is whether we're having discussions with our suppliers or our trades, because we're getting the flow-on effects of trades turning around saying, oh, well, it's costing us a lot more to be able to come out and do the work, which sometimes you sort of turn around and go, well, hold on a second, well, it's costing us a little bit more to sort of come out and do this as well, but we're absorbing that, and then you're asking for us to absorb your cost as well. Well, what are we meant to do? I mean, these hard conversations, we've got to have that. It's just the same as we've got to have the hard conversation with a client or a potential client or anybody that's looking at doing any kind of work. If a builder isn't sort of prepared to have that conversation, or isn't going to sort of tackle it head on and go, look, we're sort of seeing this at the moment. We want to give you the realistic expectations that, hey, look, we're expecting over the next couple of months to see a 5% increase in cost on a total build cost because of all the effects of this. And where the market and the industry isn't going to be sort of seeing a slowdown. We didn't see a slowdown with COVID, and the scenario is looking very similar to that was then. If we're going to be sort of seeing a 5% increase now, and then 12 months down the line, it's still going to be holding at that sort of level, it could possibly increase down that line as well. We've got to be upfront with all of the people that we're discussing everything with, and just go, well, we've got to prepare for that. And if we're not preparing for that, and we don't have some information around that to be able to sort of provide, the uncertainty is going to sink in from everybody that's involved. that's a massive concern.
Yeah. And it's very hard for us to put a percentage on it like a lot of businesses can. You can't just say,
Mm,
"Oh, we've got to put our price up 10% or 15%." Well, you sort of need to do something like that. But every job we do is different, isn't it? Like we deal with
yeah.
different things all the time. Like talking about cost of plumbing pipe going up. We could have a house that's got 10 bathrooms, or we could be doing an extension that's got none. So some have got a lot more of that in them than others, and it's the
Mm,
same with concrete or whatever the case may be. But everything has to be delivered by truck, so it's still gonna go up, but
yeah.
it's still some projects may not need to go up quite as much as others, and that's where it's very hard to, I guess, get it right. So
Yep.
get the figures right on each job. You've got to cost each individual job separately, specifically based on what going into it. That's not an easy thing to do. We can't just, like I said before about the concrete trucks, that's all they're doing, supplying and delivering concrete. We can't just say, "Oh, we're putting our price up 10%," because
Yep.
that might not be enough. It
Mm.
might be on one job, might not be on another job. So we've got to just
Oh,
totally
definitely.
totally structuring the way we're pricing our work, which takes a lot of time, doesn't it?
It
Mm.
does, and look, when we are pricing out projects and when we're looking at the numbers and we're balancing the budget, if we're forecasting it ahead on projects that have started or anything like that, we're looking at all of this on a daily basis, and we as builders need to be pretty forthright in knowing our numbers and being able to sort of translate that across to whether projects are sort of starting to run out of money, or whether they're still in the green, and we can actually make sure that everything's okay. And of course, what we can absorb as builders, and that's just the thing, because whenever I read something that's going on with somebody complaining that their builders come at them with a variation for increases on the cost, and they're just saying, well, I thought I was meant to have a fixed price contract. That's great. Everybody wants a fixed price contract, and that's all they want to spend. But with the volatility of everything at the moment, whether it's been from the start of COVID, we've learned lessons that with that sort of thing, we've seen so many builders disappear, and we're going to continue to see builders disappear, and we're starting to see that same effect of COVID happening all over again. With that happening, like where's that going to leave us? It's going to leave us with a lot less builders, and the builders that then can do the work, and are still around and are staying as profitable businesses that can actually last the test of time, I guess you could say. What are we going to be left with? We're going to be left with guys that either can or can't do the work, and the cost of them to do the work is going to be sometimes considerably higher, because that's the cost of doing business, to be able to make sure that they're around, complete the homes, and they're going to be around afterwards, or whatever it may be, if there's a warranty period or anything like that, where things need to be taken care of as well. Like where does the line uh, get drawn on what's okay, and obviously having some honesty and some openness about all of this sort of thing is really what's going to keep a lot of builder to client, and client to builder conversations, and honest conversations moving in a positive direction, instead of people not being able to build because something goes wrong, or they start with a builder that has probably done something that could be challenging, or has lost a lot of money because of price increases, and they weren't able to sort of absorb anything, and a client's like, well, we don't have any more money, so we can't do anything, and things go pear shaped. The builder disappears, and what scenario comes from that?
Yeah, well, there's been a couple of local ones go broke, go into liquidation and go down again just recently around here. 2 or 3 that I can think of in the last couple of months. So it's happening again. Interest rate rises too. Things have slowed down a bit. It is a bit quieter than what it was. Yeah, we're just sort of focusing on finishing the ones that we've got under construction already, get them finished. We're finding that's not too much of a problem. We haven't got any too huge jobs that aren't going to go that are going for years. They're only going for a few months and they're done. So we're sort of managing to get the ones that we've already had started done, but the ones that we have to start in the future, we're sort of having to adjust. If the contracts are already signed, we're going to have to adjust and talk to our
Mm,
clients about, this is what they're going to understand, but it's whether they're open to it and can afford it, and a few different reasons why they may, change their mind on not proceeding or something too, which could happen. So you could even lose work over it, couldn't you? Anything could happen.
yeah,
It's,
definitely.
mm,
There's been a lot of this sort of happening recently. A lot of this throughout COVID was noticeable. as well was the whole aspect of people over leveraging, right?
Mm.
Clients being
Yep.
completely and utterly tapped out at just the fixed price build cost. They entered contracts that were really sort of untenable right from the get go, and still seeing it now, which is a real worrying sort of trend. Could definitely call me out on this if people don't feel that this is an accurate or representative. But if you're borrowing money from a finance company, a bank, whoever it may be, and you don't have a buffer of 10 or 20% on top of that contract price, really you're setting yourself up for failure. Because the thing with COVID, and now with the current climate, is it's showing that things can go terribly pear-shaped exceedingly quickly and throw things out. And then what are you left with? You're left with no more money, no capacity to be able to do anything. People are so far overdrawn, they put themselves in harm's way and risk losing everything because they've completely tapped the well. And
Mm.
I don't know. I see this and I worry for people, and that's why one of the things that I always say to the potential clients is, if that's your completely and utterly tapped out amount, then we have to stop.
Yeah, I had this conversation on Wednesday with a couple of clients and an architect. We're going over a job that we did a tender on, and they wanted to refine it, because it's as they quite often are over budget, and the architects get a bit carried away. So we just saying how the budget they've got is about 20% less than what the price is coming in at. And I said, and they said, so we need to get it back by 20%. And I said, well, if your budget's 20% lower than that, you need to get it back by 30 or more, really, because you don't want to
Yeah.
be going in on budget, because that's gonna exactly what you were just talking about is what's going to happen. Pretty much always going to be something. There's always a few things and it's usually them changing things as well, because a lot of people don't visualize things very well until they're there for them to visualize. They're not very good with plans. So they've got to see things, and then they see things and they decide they want to change things, don't they? It's pretty common. But yeah, you definitely have to have that bit of contingency up your sleeve, or you're asking for trouble when you go into it. And if you're going into it in uncertain times without it, that's just exacerbating the problem, isn't it? Gonna
Mm,
make it, a lot worse. Same issue, but twofold, tenfold even.
yeah,
Mm.
definitely. Well, I mean, even at the moment, like, it's just it begs the question, like, and I feel like throwing it out to the audience here right now. And like, I was in a room with a lot of other builders yesterday, and the questions are still there. Is this actually okay to not be getting this information from builder and the industry that's going to help people to actually be able to do what they want to do? The things that we're seeing is that people are getting led up the garden path by their beliefs on what things should cost based on so much old information and nothing about what's happening right now. I was chatting to a lead that came through just recently, and when you look at some of the feasibilities on projects, and somebody says, "Oh, I have a budget of X amount," and there's this X amount, and you ask them, "Well, where did you come up with that figure in that budget?" Sometimes they come up with that's just how much I can borrow, or the architect that I've been working with has come up with the budget, and we're looking at things going, okay, well, if we can get it done for that budget, then that's where we stand. But then what gets drawn is double that price. And I had it last week, and all they're wanting to do is put a second floor on their house, but it's just like, well, your budget is at the very bottom of the scale for a basic second floor extension on a house. And unfortunately, it's probably going to be double that to be able to do what you want to do. And from what the plans that you've sent through, that's going to be double. Sometimes, if you look at a feasibility on something like that, you've had something drawn, you've probably spent $10,000 on getting somebody to draw this up. And with that, the feasibility from our point of view, as a builder doing it every day, is going to be, you might be better off pulling the house down and going to your Metricon or whoever it may be, volume builder, and getting one of their two-story houses, knock down the old house and rebuild that for the same price.
Yeah, well, that's what you've got to weigh up. There's always that option, isn't there? For
Mm.
sure, and that's, I think a lot of people are not into. saving the planet, so to speak, and reducing waste and all that sort of stuff. And some people are, so they don't like to knock the old one down. They want to fix it up. But sometimes the old, depending on the house, it might need a lot of work, but the structure and the actual bones and the structural components is, a lot better than the stuff you get these days too. So if it's only cosmetic, you're going to have a better house. But a lot of people don't care about that either. It's just that finished product gives them what they want, looks how they want it to look, and they don't really show any interest in what's underneath the paint as long as it doesn't fall down around their ears and they get it for the right price. They're happy. So it's just that's the thing you got to do. You got to sort of deal with people with all different backgrounds and all different sort of knowledge. They've all got different ideas and different goals of what they want to achieve. So yeah, we just got to adapt and work with them as best we can. So that's a challenge in itself too, isn't it? But it's an interesting one, that's for sure.
Yeah, it is. And in the current environment, we're finding that right now, like we're doing a feasibility on a daily basis, and finding the same result. And literally, I can have a conversation with somebody, and after 5 minutes, be able to let them know, hey, look, this is something this is the road that you can go down. This road will give you that result. That road will give you that result, and this other one will give you a result that you're not happy with. Take your pick, and you may not like it, but that's a reality. I can't sit around here in good conscience and sort of fluff up your thing to just try and take some cash and get some money turning over into business. That's not what I'm about.
Yeah.
It's
and that's a lot easier with people that have done it before, though, too, isn't it? Because they understand a bit about how that works. Whereas if it's someone who's never ever done it before, they just want to take the cheapest price because they just think they're going to get what they want for the cheapest price. But they just learn the hard way, don't they?
Oh, definitely. And like I want the best result for everybody when it comes to anything that we get involved with. And even from that first conversation, it's like, look, I'm just trying to get you the best result. I might not give you information that you necessarily want to hear or believe, but it's the honest truth from where we sort of stand right now. And how you use it is completely up to you. And I hope that just the whole honesty behind what we actually discuss, and in scenarios like this where we're having a conversation where we can actually be upfront and honest and just, hey, draw down the barriers. Don't have any guards up, because with the guard up, stuff goes pear-shaped.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, that's why we sort of have a bit of a process that we work through, don't we? And we find that we're not a good fit sometimes with those projects, so we tend to steer clear of them and just focus on the ones we know that'll work the way we want to, will get done the way we want to do them, and might not necessarily be the cheapest, but at least they get finished and they get finished properly, and the clients sort of know what they're getting, and before they start, there's no sort of big surprises or hidden secrets along the way. So.
And it's really interesting because even to the extent of saying it's jobs that we don't want to do or anything like that, it's not that we don't want to do that, but it's may not be necessarily suitable to be able to do it, and we don't feel that doing it in the way that we operate is honestly going to be the best for the client.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's right. Okay, Hugh. Well, that's been good, mate. We might call it a day there, and we'll catch you on the next one, mate. Enjoy your weekend.
I will, mate. I will. I'm away in Wagga Wagga at the moment, so yeah, I'm in your neck of the woods.
It looks nice and sunny there. Beautiful day.
It is beautiful up here at the moment, but we're looking forward to being able to sort of get back into. Well, I probably would have actually liked being able to sort of come over to your office and try and do some stuff over there and actually do a face-to-face for once when it comes to a podcast. So, maybe we'll get a chance.
We'll get to it, yeah. Okay, thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to Builders Beyond Borders. If today's episode helped you feel more prepared, clearer, or more confident, share it with a mate who's planning their own build or reno. Got a question about building, renovating, or working with tradies? Send it our way. We might cover it in a future episode. And don't forget to hit follow or subscribe so you never miss the real stories, practical tips, and builder insights we've got coming your way. Everything shared on this podcast is based on our experiences and those of our guests. It's general info only. Any reliance on the information provided is done at your own risk.